We are going to talk about the recent job for Qatar. Recent job for Qatar, interviews were being conducted at KICC and Kabete Technical. Oh, it's nowadays called Kabete Polytechnic. During my time at Nairobi Technical, this one used to be called Kabete Technical. Now, this interview is talking about Qatar, but I'll talk generally about the Gulf states. I'll talk generally about the Gulf states holistically. Now, what happens is that most of these Gulf states, including Bahrain, Qatar, and so on, these are countries that are known as welfare states. Welfare state is a state where people live on welfare. For example, in our country, everything you do, you are taxed. If you earn your salary, you are taxed pay as you earn. When you go to the supermarket and buy something, if you look at the receipt, there is a VAT and so on and so forth. We are taxed for the government to get money. In welfare states, especially in the Gulf area, the country has wells that they dig, and they sell oil. After selling oil, it is so much that instead of citizens paying taxes, it is the government that pays the citizens. Let me take an example. They have sold oil. They have $10 trillion. They find that government expenditure like any other place, salary of employees, maintenance of roads, ABCD. In our country, the taxes we pay is what now the government budgets for. But in a welfare state, you'll find that the government has, let's say, 10 trillion, but the government uses 3 trillion. So the government remains with something like $7 trillion. When it remains with $7 trillion, then it divides the money among the citizens. How much have we gotten? So much. And how many citizens are there adults? So many. Divide that number divide the number of citizens with the amount that the oil has brought. Then each and every citizen gets money in his or her bank. So you'll find that most of our people who go there, most of the people from third world country who go there, they go mostly to do the work of semi-skilled or non-skilled. They go to do semi-skilled or non-skilled. The reason is simple, that the government can be giving you so much, as I've said, as a welfare state. And for you to be a watchman, for you to be ABCD, a waiter in a hotel, some of these small jobs, you'll be paid so much. So you find that at the end of the month, if you are non-skilled, find at the end of the month, you are getting 80 to 90% of the money you spend from the government. So around 10% is what you get from your job. So unaanza kujiuliza, if I just stay at home idle, I'll get 90%. But if I have to work 26 days a month, I get a tenth of that. So some people just decide not to go for those jobs. That is why you find a lot of people coming from, because whatever that 10% is, it's a lot to people from third world countries. That is when it ends there. Apart from professions such as medical and a few others, usually you'll find that if you are trained nurse, you'll go like hotcakes. But these other jobs, menu and whatever, they are taken by people from third world. They are taken. The jobs are taken by people from third world. That is why you find that. Although, of course, I'm a Christian, but I would advise that most people who go to these Gulf states should be mostly Muslims. And I don't mean Muslims who are converted into Islam. I would prefer people who are born Muslims, or whose parents were converted when these were just babies, so that they have grown up in Islamic nature. That one they live better. If you I've stayed in Northeastern for quite some time, and if what the Somalis in Northeastern treat us, nywele ngumu, if the way they treat us is anything to go by, what about Arabs in the Gulf states? So if you are a Christian and anything like that, there are even instances where maybe because there are no churches will go there. Although I hear that some who do organize clandestinely to meet in a certain room for Christian fellowship per week. But if you have, there are occasions when if you are found with a Bible, it will bring tension. That is why I'm saying so. And since Kenya, we have a large population of Muslims, a third of it. I don't see anything wrong with that third being taken there, so that these other jobs here, you see, if even if you came here and took 1,000 Muslims, you'll just be doing us a favor, because these other jobs local, the other people will take it there. That is my personal and strong feeling. The other thing I saw, we have girls. You'll find that most of the time girls are the ones who suffer more than boys. Why do girls suffer more than boys? Uh, Islamic beliefs, and that is why I said a few minutes ago that I would prefer the person going there to be a Muslim by birth. Islam's actually, even greeting a person of the opposite gender on bare hand, it's a bit hard. It even reaches a time, even in Garissa, where if you're going to greet each other, two people from different genders, there are even times when a cloth is placed in between. So you find that for people who are born and brought up in Christian and maybe urban circumstances would find it a bit hard. And then there is another thing that is really difficult for those who go to the Gulf for their jobs, is that they are not used to this system of gender segregation. So you'll find that a girl is employed. A girl is employed uh, as a domestic worker in the Gulf. When she's employed as a domestic worker in the Gulf, uh, even even serving food or anything, she's supposed to place the food in the dining area when the man of the house is not there. So the lady can even the girl from here can go there and even work for a family for 2 years, and the gentleman, the man of the house would not know her physically, because even if they are going to meet, she has to put on dressings. And then men being men, and Islam also allowing polygamy, uh, two things happen. First of all, the man of the house may be tempted to convert this house girl into a subsequent wife or stroke aunt. The woman of the house may be suspicious that this girl will be her co-wife. So those tensions do come in, and that is why you find that the girls are mistreated or even killed by the ladies of that house. If you are going to the Gulf, also bear in mind that there are some very funny constitutions elsewhere. In some countries, if you are a foreigner and you differ with a local, then it is taken to be that the local is always right until proven wrong, and the visitor is always wrong until proven right. So the judicial system and whatever are skewed against visitors. That is the problem that is there. And then the other problem is now what I want to address is the problem called Kemboi. But then the Kemboi is you see, msameno inakata mara mbili, inakata ikienda na ikirudi. These people, they are to blame and we are also to blame. This is how it starts. In Kenya, we have recruiting agents, and in Qatar, they have recruiting agents. Now, these Qatar companies or even the Gulf companies have entered into agreement with Kenyan recruitment agencies, such that the Qatar agent can write to the Kenyan agent and say, I need 30 youth. I want 25 men and 5 women. Then any specification, maybe you want somebody who has been a waiter or something or something. After they agree, this is now where Kizungumkuti comes in. And that is why I'll tell you why I support the government move of directly employing people at Kabete and KICC. Now, the company in the Gulf may use up to 150,000 shillings in, you see, the transport from Kenya to the Gulf is so much. And then, plus the profits for that company, whatever, it reaches, let's say, 150,000 Kenya shillings. So, the company in Qatar sends 100, no, I mean, sends a request per person. What the company in Qatar says, it sends money to the Kenyan company. And you see, the Kenyan company does very little. Does very little because part of the agreement is that these employees, the third world employees, are supposed to have been placed in a dormitory-like environment for about up to a month, where they are taught the culture of that place, where they are even taught basically. Because in reality, even the Kenya police people who went to Haiti did not just go to Haiti. They had to go somewhere and train specifically for Haiti. This is how Haiti people are. These are their local food. This is how they behave. So Kenyan youths going to the Gulf, they are even supposed to be told how they'll behave during Ramadan time. Because you are a Christian and that home are observing Ramadan. So you will know how to eat without them seeing you because you have to respect their religion. They are supposed to be placed there for so many. But then you find that I want to estimate it offhand. You find that the Kenyan agent, first of all, does not undertake those youth to this orientation course. No, they don't. Two, the only thing they do is that, first of all, they encourage you, oh, do you have a passport? Or if you don't have a passport, there's no problem. We look for the passport for you. Then they'll charge you more than what the Qatar people do. Because one thing, they'll pay for your passport, they'll pay for your visa, they'll pay for your yellow card, yellow fever, they'll pay for everything. And if you count maybe that everything they are doing, it will be 50,000 shillings. Transport by plane, I think it's 70,000. So if you put that is 120. But what the Kenyan company will demand from the Gulf company is 306, no, 250,000, and the Qatar company will have demanded 120. That one translates to 360. This is somebody who has come from Misiho, maybe has never or she has never even stepped in Nairobi. Suddenly, he or she is given uh, a passport and told to go to Bahrain or Qatar or any of those Gulf states. After he reaches there, now this is the challenge. We have people in Gulf states, Arabs, who do not want to employ people through the what do you call, through the agents. And the system there is that upon arrival you are given a maisha number, which indicates that it is a kipande, just like the Kenyan kipande, where your employer fills in the form for you and controls your movement. So you arrive there in the Gulf. After arriving there, you are taken to your employer. There is an agreement that if you don't agree with the first employer, you are given a second employer, then you are given a third employer. If it reaches third employer and you don't agree with all of them, then you are supposed to go back to Kenya. You're supposed to go back to Kenya. Now, when upon arriving there, you find that the salary you're being paid, there is somebody there, an Arab, who is looking for employees and he is not ready to pass through the system. So he'll see the salary that you are getting. Of course, he'll be visiting those people and he'll see how you're working and whatever. Then he will want to employ you. And he will want to employ you at a higher salary than what your employer is employing you. But here you have signed a contract for 2 years. That is when some people wanatoroka, and that is why they are called Kemboi, after the run. That is one thing. The other thing, if you are a Kemboi and successful, you get a new salary, which is bigger than whatever. But if you continue staying with this person, remember, if you have Kemboid, you'll get more salary than here. And here you are getting lesser salary. Na inakatwa, they deduct the 360. 360, you have signed for 18 months. 360, that translates to 20,000 shillings per month. Yes, you have heard me. That your daughter or son works in the Gulf minus 20,000 shillings per month. And I can tell you, I don't know about you, but to me, 20,000 shillings is a lot. If you have to, anybody who is saving 20,000 shillings, happen. This one is not saving, you are told you are replacing that one. So that is how. And then when you become sick or anything, your employer does not even want to. We have sickness, like the weather sickness or anything, whatever. Or even when you are looking for a job, you may be having an underlying sickness, but you don't say. Anyway, sickness do come. When you are sick, your employer insists that you treat yourself. Imagine your parents in Kenya, the people you left in Kenya, are looking forward for you to send them money. Here you are sick in the hospital. You are supposed to. Now that is when you start sending messages to Kenya. Can you send money for me to be treated? Can you send money for me to be treated? You see? And then, anyway, saa zingine si mzuri kucheka. So you find people start wondering, na huyu alienda ng'ambo. But even those who go there for 18 months, you find that even if they do saving, the 20,000 per month is still going. So what from where I'm seated, I do support. In fact, I would even encourage the government to do what Nani did, so that everybody who everybody in the Gulf who wants employees should pass through the ministry. I'm told, okay, there is one person who was given the exclusive for this, but you see, those are the financials of politicians. You'll find that if I am the minister for labor, and maybe you assisted me in the past or anything, or you'll even sponsor me for, or it could even be my secret company. What I do is that I can give an exclusive contract to your company because of that. But that being that, holistically, you'll find that this lot that has been taken there by the Ministry of what do you call employment, Ministry of Labor, yeah. You'll find those who have been taken to the Ministry of Labor, their terms of services are good, their salaries are good, and they will only pay the 70,000. 70,000 will be deducted from their salary. Okay, let us take it 80,000. 80,000 will be deducted from their salary. Now, 80,000 for 18 months. That is 40,000 for 9 months, 20,000 for 3 months. Yeah, 20,000 for 3 months. And the other ones are paying 3 times that. So we should encourage that. And I think the government should review and even cancel license of most of the people. Lastly, I would tell you, if you have a history of sickness or whatever, please don't try to go to such countries. I know we have problems with jobs, but mtauza shamba, watu wako watauza shamba. Thank you for listening to me today. Goodbye.